The Book of Joy by Doug Abrams, Desmond Tutu, and the Dalai Lama. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel, and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone. Who doesn't want to make self-growth normal? Then make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps with ranking and SEO and all this other stuff, and I really appreciate it because so much work goes into making these videos. Two of the jolliest spiritual personal brands on the planet. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, the 14th, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who of South Africa had not heard before. They meet up for a week with the author who interviews them, and they share insights and ideas that have crossed their minds throughout the years. And what's interesting about this is how they both come from such different backgrounds, and yet at such a fundamental level seem to agree with each other on what the fulfillment of the human experience really requires. It's said at the end of the introduction that the book is and backed by science. It's not a religious book, but more a universal book. The author hit up this one, I think, cognitive science about all the material in the book, or that was going to be in the book before the book was put together completely, about like the scientific validity of this stuff. And these guys do talk about their spiritual practices, of course. For anyone curious, obviously, like, what do these guys do? I don't know. I mean, the Archbishop smashes that like button for anyone who hasn't done that already for the YouTube algorithm, and he actually prays for 3 to 4 hours a day. The Dalai Lama meditates for 5. He wakes up at 3 in the morning and goes to bed at 7. 5 hours of meditation. Have you ever tried to meditate for like a minute? It's crazy. It's nuts. You'll realize in like 5 seconds how impatient your brain is. They talk about the 3 pillars of joy in depth as well. Again, there is scientific evidence that to be happy, we will like reframe situations in more positive manners. Here's an example. A couple of years ago, I walked into work on a rainy day and a colleague asked me how I was doing, and I was like, oh, you know, better than the weather. And he's like, really? Rain is a necessity. Plants need it to flourish and grow. And I never looked at rain the same way again. Now when it rains, I am aiming to have that kind of internal sunshine. That's a good word. I know it sounds corny, but corny and false are not synonymous with each other. You know what I mean? And another pillar, I like their word choice for their pillar, is gratitude. Like, I don't know if you're watching this, if you guys watch my channel, chances are maybe you have some sort of like a gratitude exercise or something every morning. I do, at least, spending 3 minutes writing down everything that I'm grateful for, like one by one, that comes to mind. Whenever it also comes to mind, I'll write down why I'm grateful for that thing. What I find that's interesting about this is that the things I write down the most often that I'm grateful for, I am very quick not to react too negatively in a situation where I otherwise would if I didn't do this exercise every morning. And I find myself more joyous every day just doing that. There's that, and of course, giving to others, which is the other pillar of joy. As the Archbishop said, a person is a person when they give to other persons. What I love about the conversations between these two guys is not just their openness of like also practicing what they preach, but it's also how much they already seem to know about other philosophies and religions and sciences, and at the same time how much they also ended up teaching each other in such a short period of time. Now, I noticed they talk about things like sadness and interconnectedness, or turmoil, or the transmutation of grief into determination. But it's so weird to think that those just have like anything to do with joy or happiness. But these are really just, you know, some of the obstacles to joy. They talk about each one of those in great depth. This part heavily stood out on the section about humility. Wouldn't really expect this one to be part of the humility section, but the good reason I buy books like this one. I'm really interested in how these concepts connect to at least a better future of humanity.
So many people seem to struggle with being kind to themselves. This is really sad. If you don't have genuine kindness and love toward yourself, how can you extend these to others? For most people in self-help, this may sound basic, but here's where it gets kind of freaky. Too much focus on yourself leads to fear and uncertainty and anxiety. Remember, you are not alone. You are part of a whole generation that is the future of humanity. Then you will get a sense of purpose in life. You don't think that escalated a little quickly? That went from like one person to every person, and I don't know. I don't think, by the way, that this book is a book
of joy. I mean, if it had to be around one emotion, sure, it would definitely be joy, but the thing is, I think it's a book of so many different emotions too. I get that so many of them have these connections to joy, but I don't know. But the greatest insight I got from this book is, and by the way, it does kind of feel like throughout the book, you are with the three guys, like talking with them about and learning from them about all this stuff that has to do with joy across all these different philosophies and ways of looking at things. But here's the greatest insight I got from the book. Consider for a moment the area of your life in which you are suffering the most. Then consider all the people who are going through the same thing or something similar. It's that simple. This blew my mind because the author said that this is the single root of compassion. Like, suffering without loneliness. And I can't remember the last time I listened to a book that with a straight up bias of betterment toward joy will explore so many different emotions from so many different angles, positive or negative. As I like to say, that emotions are overrated as long as understanding them is not. Quotes.
Every day is your birthday. Wherever you have friends, that's your country. And wherever you feel love, that's your home. The art of the moral universe is wrong, but it bends to justice. If you want to be poor, find some rich friends. If you want to be rich, find some poor friends. Sometimes we confuse humility with timidity. One does not know the value of freedom until one has it taken away. The things that divide us, our ethnicity, our race, our nationality, even our gender, are much less significant than the things that unite us. Our common humanity, our human emotions, and our fundamental desire to be happy and avoid suffering. Direction 1.
I recommend this book, honestly, to most people in America. Or any other relatively developed country. A lot of the problems that are addressed in this book, I think that if the entire world, or at least, at the very least, the more developed countries internalize, we would be surprised at how much of a better place the world becomes. It's one of those rare books. Like the author said, it's very universal. Direction 2. If you like this book, I recommend checking out, I don't know, the diversity of perspective here and religious philosophies and stuff that all kind of tie into the same spiritual message? One of those words, maybe a mixture of the two. It reminded me a tad of A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and definitely at the very least the last chapter of The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. The Book of Joy by Doug Abrams, the Dalai Lama 14th, His Holiness, and the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out too. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it, but hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe, but if you have subscribed, and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I'll see you then.